Tonight on News Prime, Tinubu mourns Ibadan Fun Fair tragedy victims, others probe. In business, federal government distributes subsidized inputs to 6,000 Kano wheat farmers. On the foreign scene, Giselle Pellicot's husband jailed for 20 years in mass rape trial. And in sports, Wolves name Victor Pereira new head coach. Hello and a very warm welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Prime on Global Television. Coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja, I am Uyi Agmofwebe. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and free to air on Nigecomsat. Now let's begin by telling you President Bola Tinubu has expressed sadness over the tragic incident at a children's fun fair in Ibadan, Oyo State capital, which claimed innocent lives and left many others injured. The president extended his condolences to the government and people of Oyo State and, most importantly, to the grieving families who have lost their children in the unfortunate incident. It was reported that 32 children had died during a stampede at a fun fair in Ibadan on Wednesday, with reports on Thursday indicating a rise to 35. That's quite a disturbing development there. We hope these families will find relief and ultimately closure. Let's turn to Nigeria's northwest now, where Kano State High Court has ordered the state government to pay 8,511 million naira to Lamash Properties Limited, owners of the buildings demolished by the state governor, Abba Kabir Yusuf. The court also gave an order for the defendants consisting of Kano State government, Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf and the state's Attorney General to pay an additional 10 million naira as the cost of filing the case. The buildings, which were brought down on the order of the governor in June last year, were the subject matter of a lawsuit filed by Lamash Property Limited, who claimed that the destructions caused by the governor were unwarranted. In an originating summons filed before a high court of Kano State presided over by Justice Sunusi Maji, the plaintiff says it obtained the property legally via an agreement with the state government under the administration of Governor Abdullahi Ganduje, now the national chairman of the ruling All Progressives Congress. A federal high court in Abuja has ordered Minister of Interior Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo and the Nigerian Immigration Service (NIS) to ensure that applicants who meet all the requirements to get international passports get them within 6 weeks. The court said this delivery period is achievable because it is in line with Section 9, Subsection 4 of the Immigration Act 2015. Justice Emeka Winte issued the order in a judgment he delivered on a fundamental rights enforcement suit filed by an aggrieved Nigerian, Benita Ngozi Ezumezu, against the service and the minister listed as respondent. The court ordered the service to pay 3 million naira as damages to Benita Ezumezu for failing to issue her international passports within the stipulated 6 weeks. In the meantime, the National Assembly has expressed its displeasure with the judiciary's age-long practice of granting tenure to heads of all categories of superior courts of record in the country. By age-long tradition, heads of courts, including the Chief Justice of Nigeria, the President of the Appeal Courts, hold offices until they attain their retirement age. Although heads of the executive and the legislature are elected for a fixed tenure of office, unlike the heads of all categories of superior courts of record who are appointed, the National Assembly is planning to amend the Constitution for inclusion of a maximum 5-year tenure clause for heads of courts across the country. The lawmakers are contending that fixing a tenure of office for the heads of courts will enhance service efficiency and motivation. The Nigerian Army has presented houses to 20 wounded in-action soldiers in Abuja in continuation of efforts to advance the welfare of its personnel. Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa presented the keys to the beneficiaries during the inauguration of the Nigerian Army housing units under the Affordable Home Ownership Option for All Soldiers scheme. In his remarks, the Chief of Defense Staff charged other services to key into the projects and provide housing units to all ratings and airmen, as he described the project as a true testament to the untiring efforts of the late Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja, who had continuously advanced the welfare of Army personnel. He commended the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Oluyemi Oluyede, for continuing with the scheme, ensuring that more houses will be built for interested subscribers. Troops of the Multinational Joint Task Force operating under Section 1 in Mora have successfully repelled a coordinated attack by Boko Haram and ISWAP terrorists on the military base at Darak in Cameroon. Chief Military Information Officer of the Lieutenant Colonel Olani Yosoba in a statement says the operations led to the elimination of 10 terrorists in the early hours of Wednesday. In a fierce gun battle, troops swiftly engaged the terrorists, eliminating 6 terrorists and forcing the others to flee with varying degrees of gunshot wounds. According to the Joint Task Force, 5 soldiers sustained injuries during the encounter and are currently responding to medical treatment. The federal government, in collaboration with relevant stakeholders, is to implement the Proof of Address System initiative to address insecurity across the 774 local government areas in the country. Secretary to Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, disclosed this at the stakeholders meeting for the activation and implementation of the local government Proof of Address System in Abuja. Akume, represented by the Permanent Secretary, General Offices, Nandi Mberi, explained that Nigeria, like many nations, had been grappling with a myriad of challenges such as insecurity, social vices, economic instability, and inefficient governance in public and private sectors. He noted that the initiative reflected the unwavering commitment of President Bola Tinubu to address key challenges facing the country while laying the foundation for a safer, more efficient, and prosperous Nigeria. The Minister of Environment, Balarabe Lawal, has stated that the agro-climatic resilience in semi-arid landscapes, a CRESOL project, is crucial in addressing land degradation, food insecurity, among others. Lawal, speaking in Abuja at the endorsement and validation of the first phase of the developed strategic catchment management plan by CRESOL stakeholders, noted that the agency is a World Bank financed project that aims to address climate change and land degradation in Nigeria's southern states. The minister said the CRESOL project was environmentally friendly with a focus on 3 issues: food security, water supply, and the environment. In a bid to address the pressing issues of unemployment and skill acquisition in Nigeria, the Progressive Institute of the All Progressives Congress (APC) has organized a 3-day national conference in Abuja. The conference, which kicked off on Tuesday, has brought together stakeholders from various sectors to discuss ways of empowering the nation's youth. Queen Agaba has the rest of the story.
Your Excellency, we have also discussed with the management of the institute about the urgent need to initiate the process of organizing a national discourse on the development of the progressive ideology. This will be preceded by the party-wide consultations in order to ensure inclusiveness and ownership in keeping with the directive of Mr. President on this very important issue.
Thank you, Queen Agaba, for your reports in there. The House of Representatives will, on December 31, 2024, present the sum of 704.91 million naira to President Bola Tinubu for the use of vulnerable Nigerians owing to the economic hardship occasioned by the removal of the petrol subsidy. On July 18, 2024, the House resolved to slash 50% of the salaries for 6 months to address the challenges faced by ordinary Nigerians following the adoption of a motion moved during plenary. Following the motion by Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu, the House in July resolved to donate half of their salaries to meet the hunger needs of Nigerians as part of efforts to stop and end the bad governance protest. The Olubadan of Ibadan land, Oba Owolabi Olakulehi, and the Olubadan in Council have condemned the tragic and untimely death of children as well as injuries sustained during a stampede at a children's carnival held at Islamic High School, Basharu, in Ibadan, Oyo State. In a statement issued by his chief press secretary, Olugbemiga Ayoade in Ibadan, the state capital, the Olubadan commiserated with the families of the deceased. Over 30 children reportedly lost their lives during a stampede, while several others sustained varying degrees of injuries. Oba Olakulehin, along with the Olubadan Council, wished the injured a speedy recovery and urged the state government to investigate the incident, prevent future occurrences, and hold the culprits accountable. You're watching the live broadcast of News Prime here on Global Television, coming to you from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. When News Prime returns shortly, Wike revokes Buhari Onoge Akume's Abuja land titles. We will let you in on that story and bring you others from both the foreign and sports segments after this break. Please do stay with us. We appreciate you for staying with us, everyone here watching the live broadcast of News Prime on Global Television. And now time to bring you business. The federal government, through the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, has announced the transfer of regulatory oversight of the electricity market in Lagos State to the newly established Lagos State Electricity Regulatory Commission. This is contained in a statement released by the Commission on X. This move follows the amended provisions of the Nigerian Constitution and the Electricity Act of 2023. The Commission says the transfer of regulatory oversight is in line with the amended Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the Electricity Acts of 2023. Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has revoked land titles belonging to former President Muhammadu Buhari, former Chief Justice of Nigeria, CJN Walter Onoge, and the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume. Recall that the Federal Capital Territory Administration in October had threatened to revoke the certificates of occupancy of plots of land owned by prominent individuals and corporate organizations in Abuja. In a notice published October 5, 2024, the administration had issued a 2-week ultimatum to landowners in the Maitama district of Abuja to settle outstanding payments for the CFO or risk losing their property rights. Minister of Agriculture and Food Security Abubakar Kyari has commenced the distribution of subsidized inputs to no fewer than 6,000 wheat farmers in Kano State. The minister, represented by the State Coordinator, Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, Issa Hotoro, made the disclosure at the aggregation center at Akamawa village in the Bunkoro local government area of the state. It says the distribution of the inputs, which is under the federal government special program on wheat production, is expected to boost wheat production as the government gave the inputs at a 75% subsidy. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has revealed that diaspora remittances processed through international money transfer operators reached $4.22 billion between January and October 2024. This figure nearly doubles the $2.62 billion recorded during the same period in 2023. CBN Governor Olayemi Kadoso shared this information while addressing the Senate Committee on Banking, Insurance, and Other Financial Institutions during an interactive session held at the National Assembly on Wednesday. Kadoso stated that the year-on-year increase of approximately 61.1% reflects significant growth. President of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, NSE, Engineer Margaret Oguntala, has called for the use of artificial intelligence, AI, to ensure pipeline integrity in real-time monitoring systems. Oguntala, speaking at the 2024 Nigerian International Pipeline Technology and Security Conference, highlighted the central role of pipelines in Nigeria's energy sector. The event served as a crucial platform for driving forward Nigeria's pipeline infrastructure agenda, ensuring that it continues to support both national economic development and environmental preservation. Represented by the NSE Vice President, Corporate Services Engineer Dr. Felicia Agubata, Oguntala emphasized that pipelines are not only crucial for energy transportation, but also for job creation, industrialization, supporting key infrastructure projects in sectors such as agriculture, healthcare, and education. And now let's go foreign here on News Prime tonight. Russian President Vladimir Putin has acknowledged concerns over high inflation, but insisted the economy was stable in the face of external threats. Russia's central bank is set to hike interest rates on Friday in its latest attempt to deal with the pace of price rises amid the military offensive on Ukraine. Putin said at a televised end-of-year press conference that with the economy as a whole, the situation in Russia is stable despite external threats. He also hoped that if macroeconomic indicators are maintained, his country will be able to cope with it. Russia officially targets inflation of 4.0%, though prices have risen significantly faster since February 2022, when Moscow ordered troops into Ukraine. French rape survivor Gisèle Pelicot's ex-husband has been jailed for 20 years after drugging and raping her and inviting dozens of strangers to also abuse her over nearly a decade. Dominique Pelicot, 72, was found guilty of all charges by a judge in Avion, southern France, and cried in court as he was sentenced to the maximum term. He was on trial with 50 other men, all of whom were found guilty of at least one charge, although their jail terms were less than what prosecutors had demanded. The Iraqi Interior Ministry spokesman Mikad Miri says Iraq would begin repatriating Syrian troops who fled a lightning offensive that precipitated the ouster of President Bashar al-Assad. Assad fled Syria as an offensive spearheaded by the Islamist Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, closing on Damascus more than 13 years after his crackdown on democracy protest morphed into one of the deadliest wars of the century. Taking city after city in a matter of days, the Islamists-led rebels faced little resistance and reached Damascus on December 8. A Labour minister has been named in an investigation into claims her family embezzled up to £3.9 billion from infrastructure projects in Bangladesh. Tulip Siddiq, who as the Treasury's Economic Secretary is responsible for tackling corruption in UK financial markets, is alleged to have brokered a deal with Russia in 2013 that overinflated the price of a new nuclear power plant in Bangladesh. The allegation is part of a wider investigation by Bangladesh's Anti-Corruption Commission, ACC, into Siddique's aunt, Sheikh Hasina, who was deposed as Prime Minister of the country last August. And now let's catch some excitement real quick from the world of sports. Wolverhampton Wanderers have announced the appointment of Vitor Pereira as their new head coach on an 18-month deal. The seasoned tactician with a reputation for success across Europe, Asia, and the Middle East replaces Gary O'Neill, who was dismissed on December 15th following 4 consecutive Premier League defeats. The 56-year-old Portuguese coach assumes the role at a critical juncture, with Wolves languishing in 19th place in the Premier League table. The Fred King Group has completed its takeover of Everton, ending the turbulent tenure of Farhad Moshiri. The deal for 99.5% of the club is believed to be worth in excess of £400 million, and the Toffees become the 10th club in the Premier League under majority American control. The group reached an agreement with Moshiri on 23rd September and were awaiting regulatory approval, with the Premier League having the final say on the deal, and this has now been granted. The Texas-based group is led by Chairman Dan Friedkin and also wins Italian Serie A club Roma. Friedkin has a net worth of £6.16 billion. Quite some significant resources there. As we end Global Television's News Prime tonight, it's now time to bring you a summary of some of our big stories. President Bola Tinubu has expressed sadness over the tragic incident at a children's fun fair in Ibadan, Oyo State capital, which claimed innocent lives and left many others injured. In business, Minister of Agriculture and Food Security Abubakar Kyari has commenced the distribution of subsidized inputs to no fewer than 6,000 wheat farmers in Kano State. On the foreign scene, French rape survivor Gisèle Pelicot's ex-husband has been jailed 20 years after drugging and raping her, as well as inviting thousands of strangers to abuse her over nearly a decade. And finally, in sports, we told you Wolverhampton Wanderers have announced the appointment of Victor Pereira as their new head coach on an 18-month deal. And that's your news prime tonight. It came to you from the nation's capital, Abuja. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV, channel 365, Star Times 276, and free to air on Nightcomsat. We encourage all of our viewers to follow and engage with us across social media platforms using @Global TV NG, as well as other handles as you now see on your screen. Tonight, on behalf of the entire production team here, domiciled at the global headquarters of our television station, I'm Uyag Mofwegwe saying a big thank you to you for watching. We will see you again.